So when I began the whole reciprocity project, I think I had like a total of, I don't know, probably 80 followers. And that was mostly, I probably had about 100 or something like that. It hasn't changed on Facebook. It's kind of, nothing's really changed on there. And then on LinkedIn, I probably had about 80 followers. And my first follower for like the first 6 months on YouTube was the developer. I remember that. Like I put out the YouTube video and it was like just this one person and it was the damn developer that, is not developing my product anymore. They've long since disappeared out of the scene that first began or I first partnered with. Um, but here's the thing, right? I can either look at this at any given moment and say, I should give up, right? Like, this is impossible. I will never get there, right? Like, I can look at right now and say, like, the platform itself doesn't have enough users. Um, Nobody's following me or not nearly as many people. I sort of look around every once in a while, put my head up and look around saying, well, what can I do? How can I make the difference? You start like your reference set is often, people that have lots of followers and they're telling you how easy it is and all of this nonsense that often is the case, right? Or you might look at, maybe it's people will look at a YouTube show and they'll say, oh, they've got millions of people that are following. Um, or any number of different things. The issue is none of them affect you. They are completely irrelevant. And I'm going to tell you this, if anybody that ever tries to do anything like this, whatever anybody else does is so irrelevant from what you're doing. And if people tell you otherwise, they haven't got a clue how this actually works. And you'll get a tremendous amount of advice of people saying, go do this, go do that. And you realize when you go do it, nothing works the way that you intended. And there is no easy answers. There's not a single one. Right. And so what I could do is give up and say at any one of these stages, give up and just simply say, well, I only got one follower. Why bother? Nobody's using the damn thing. I trust me at home. Um, Now I'm like very open about it. I'm more open. I'm still very shy about it because it feels like failure. Everything about this feels like I'm screwing up, that I'm guilty, uh, that I'm doing something wrong, right? Like all of those things, all of those emotions, it feels like that, very much so. And until you do this, you won't experience it. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't get it. I try to simulate it with my classes. They still really don't get it on a daily basis because what ends up happening, this is like so the truth. People will say, well, I could do this. They try it for 3 times and then they give up and they say it wasn't for me, right? Like it is. And then they give advice to everybody else and saying, well, do this, do that, like all of this kind of nonsense. And they haven't actually tried it and done it. And they don't have the lived experience. And the issue is there is very few people in this world that have the lived experience like I do. I've realized that now. Even, you look at X number of different people, they have very different lived experiences that are, you know, often. So for example, you name it, right? So for building a platform, they might say, well, do the whole venture capital way or try to build a team. That only works in one place, right? Is Silicon Valley. Maybe you might get a little bit of action in Boston. The rest of it doesn't work. It just, I would highly not recommend it. And I'm a professor of innovation at this moment for anybody else in any other location because you look at it and it doesn't work, right? Like you look at statistically and it doesn't work. And so another thing is We'll go, why don't you just raise money from family and friends? Okay, you go do that. You figure out how that actually happens. You realize, like, A, it's not going to work for you, right? Unless you're super rich, you come from a very rich, wealthy family. Um, or B, you do it, you take a little bit of money, you lose whatever money that was. It just disappears because, like, you're trying to figure things out, and then you feel guilty for the rest of your life for blowing somebody else's money. And ruins that relationship, right? Like, just makes it disappear. All of this advice of people that we have in most, and I said this yesterday, I blame business schools. It's extraordinarily biased advice, biased not in the sense it's intentional, but we select on people and companies that are successful. We don't have that information, right? We don't have the information that people had tried and they gave up, which is enormous. It's a large number of people. And another, okay, so that's on the startup front. Maybe you're like, well, because I need to build an audience to get people to pay attention to this and finally fall in love with what I'm actually doing. Um, well, and then you might say, well, look at Charlie D'Amelio or um, Logan Paul or any of these people. See what they do. You look at what they do. First of all, they're beautiful people. Second of all, and I'm not that beautiful. Second of all, they often do things that I would feel extraordinarily uncomfortable to actually do, right? Like beyond uncomfortable. And it's not just because of my age. Often there's things so often there's things that I just I don't feel comfortable being and I'm not talking about that specific reference set right now, but in general, like I don't want to screw people over, right? Like I am not that type of person. I think I want to make sure people actually have something that's honest and something that's actually good. I think at this moment, um, all of this, and that's why I try to be honest with it, is you could see me build this thing and understand I'm not doing anything that's trying to rip people off. So, long story short, is you can look at any given moment and you can look around and find all these kind of different smatterings of successful people. They're all lying to you. I'm gonna be very honest, right, in terms of how this actually works. It's often people got to the situation they got into by just sheer dumb luck. And if you need to will something into existence, just be prepared. It is going to be the most grinding, terrible, embarrassing experience you'll ever have in your life, right? Like, imagine that you want to be on the American Olympic team and you live in, I know, Idaho. Just if for you to get there, just be prepared that you are going to have to do a lot of grinding work and it's going to be very embarrassing with all of your friends and family because they're not going to believe in you and they're going to laugh at you and all that kind of stuff. Right? Like just be prepared. And the truth is you're probably not good enough to be an athlete like an Olympic athlete, but if you do well and you keep working at it, you certainly as hell can actually do something that's pretty damn good. So, Mike, the what I'm trying to get at is at any given moment, your inferences that you're going to make are going to be extraordinarily poor because we make very poor judgments. And the only thing that you can go by is just getting back up and grinding again another day, putting in another step, looking at the world and saying, well, this sucks. But I got to do it again. Let's get going. One more day, one more try. And just repeatedly doing that over and over and over again. once you get in that habit, somewhat unstoppable, but just be prepared. It's going to be a grind every single day, and you're going to earn every single moment that you gain. But for almost all of us, 99.999% of us, that's going to be the recipe. Every once in a while, somebody might get lucky. They might be born in the right place. They might have the right looks, the right voice. Everything might work in their favor. But for every single one of us, it is just one more grind every day. And don't forget that. Take care and have a wonderful day.